Here are my top 4 signs that you are trapped in your feminine frame, or you know somebody who's trapped in their feminine frame. These are my top 4 signs for how to identify that and how to fix that so you stop doing it. Because a lot of guys aren't even aware they're doing it. They're not even aware they're trapped in their feminine frame. For a lot of guys, they think they're being masculine and, alpha, and it's like, no, dude, that's like super beta, it's super omega, and you're just really being a little bitch, right? So let's go through these top 4 very, very, very blatant signs that you are trapped in your feminine frame. So the very first one, very first sign that you're trapped in your feminine frame is that you are just a bit too emotional, right? You're just a little too emotional. And you want to be careful about this too, because I'm seeing so much of the mainstream out there encouraging men, especially lately, to be a little more in touch with your feminine side, right? You have to feel like you can share and cry and, be vulnerable. And, that is something that is great advice for women, but it's not great advice for men, because we are conquerors of the world, right? We are the leaders of the world. We are the builders of the world. Just look out here, man. Look at all this stuff here. See all this stuff out here? All built by men. Okay? All built by men. And in order to build stuff like that, and build it to a degree where it's safe and these buildings don't just topple down or blow up, right? We need to make sure that we have some sound minds working on this architecture, right? Working on this construction over here, as well as everything else. You would not want some emotional crybaby who is more in touch with his feminine side and loves being vulnerable, building this stuff out here, and then you go stay in that hotel. Right now, I'm pretty high up. I'm on a pretty good floor up here, so I've got a great view of Vegas. Got this view last minute too, so it's pretty sweet. I come out here a lot, so I've got like pretty cool status, like I think we call it like diamond level or something. But I don't pay resort fees anymore. I don't pay parking anywhere, and usually I get free nights because I stay so long, right? I usually stay for like up to a month, and then I gamble too, so they give me all sorts of perks, which is pretty cool. But all of this stuff here is built by sane men who were able to keep their emotions in check. Doesn't mean that, times where they're sad, maybe their animal died, or maybe they had a family member die, right? And you just can't help it, fine, right? But it doesn't mean to be this 24/7 over-emotional crybaby. Okay? There are times where you have to keep your emotions in check. And there's a big difference between, like constantly sharing your emotions versus being in control of them, right? I mean, there are times where I get emotional, but I'm in control of that. I'm able to just, stop, take a breath, suck it in, and just keep pushing forward. Because we're men. We have to do it, guys. We have to do it. Right? We're the leaders of the world. I mean, I've even had some women, like some haters and some non-haters, like message me from time to time because I talked about how my dad was like a strict disciplinarian, right? Where my mom was more nurturing. That was her job. She's like, oh, it's okay, it's okay. Where my dad is like, well, no, that's not okay. He really set those boundaries. And so I've had some women come on my channel like, oh, I'm sorry, the disconnect from your dad and he wasn't more emotional towards you. It's like, no, he did what he needed to do and he taught me to do the same. And they're like, it's okay to share, it's okay to be emotional. I'm like, to a degree, but you have to be in control of your emotions. As men, we don't have the luxury that women do where we can, sit back and the world is going to cater to us and, coddle us and change all the laws to make things easier for us and put all these quotas in these corporations and colleges, universities, and militaries to make it easier for us to get by. No, as a matter of fact, society is making it hard and difficult as possible for men to succeed out there. And for myself, every day I got to fight, right? And I've got several businesses now to take care of, to grow, to expand. I have a family to take care of. I've got Cash and Gizmo to take care of. And not to mention, I have employees all around the world helping me to run my businesses that depend on me to not screw up in order to feed their families. They were worried because they were like, is there any concern here? Do I need to get a second job and blah, blah. And I was like, no, don't worry about it. No matter what happens, I'm like, if I have to fund it out of my own savings, fund your salaries, I will do that to keep us, afloat until we get through this. And fortunately, I didn't have to do that. My businesses actually grew during the pandemic. But regardless, while everybody was freaking out, I had to remain sane. Why? Because I'm the captain of the ship. Because I am quarterbacking this thing. Right? I am the leader. Right? And I played quarterback, as a matter of fact. And while everybody's freaking out, we're down by 3 or 4 touchdowns, and I've definitely been in games like that, I want to get emotional. I can't because I'm the leader. People are looking at me to lead. And now that I have a YouTube channel, you guys are looking at me to lead, right? So are there times that I feel like I want to be emotional? Of course, right? However, I'm in control of that, just like you should be, because that's what men do. We are the leaders out there. Okay, we are the builders. We are the protectors. That is your job. Okay, I'm sorry you can't just break down and cry every night. But that's part of being man. What can I tell you? So you have to be in control of it. I have a lot of people who depend on me. People who work for me, my animals, family members who are struggling financially. I have a ton of people who depend on me. I don't plan on letting any of them down. I don't plan on letting any of you down with my content, right? Times I'm sleepy, I just want to sleep. I mean, even right now, I haven't gotten enough sleep. I've been out there gaming, partying. I did a private boot camp over the weekend, so I'm pretty exhausted. But I'm still here banging out these coaching videos because I need to do it. Right? I woke myself up. I'm like, I need to do it. I wanted to give you guys this shot at night while this Eiffel Tower is still lit up. I wanted to give that to you guys. So I'm like, I got to do it, man. I got to get up. Because that's what men do. So, I don't know how I got on this tangent. But anyway, the first sign of being trapped in your emotional frame is you're just way too over-emotional. And as a guy, you need to keep that in check. I hate to tell you, but you need to keep it in check. Okay. Second sign that you are trapped in your feminine frame is that you are just a bit too reactive. And this comes from as a byproduct of being too emotional, being over emotional. You're just super reactive. You don't stop and think things through. And as a man, you need to. This is why it's important to keep your emotions in check, because when your emotions are in check, you'll just do that by default. Okay, you won't be so reactive. You won't make dumb decisions in life. You won't do things, based on your emotional state. Instead, you'll do them based on your mental state. That's a sure sign that you're trapped in your feminine frame. Okay, third sign that you're trapped in your feminine frame, and I can't talk about this enough. You get jealous and envious of other men who are doing better than you. Okay, there is no reason for a man to be jealous or envious of another man, especially one who's doing better than him. Okay, because a man who's in his masculine frame would want to emulate that guy. Maybe not be exactly like him, but emulate his success. Like, what did this guy do to get there? Instead of hating on him, what can I learn from him to better my situation? Because it's real easy to just try to tear somebody down and be a toxic little worm about it and just, take shots at that guy. It's real easy to do that because it gives yourself, an excuse. Like, oh, that guy's just scam artist. Oh, that guy's just a grifter. Oh, that guy's just, gaming the system or whatever. Right? Or, oh, that guy's just, terrible person anyway. It's like, things that really aren't based on facts, but it's just based on your own emotional reactiveness, jealousy, and envy towards that guy. So instead of being jealous and envious towards that guy, what can you learn from him? I did a coaching video not that long ago. I don't know if I uploaded it yet, but I talked about the one thing that I did that really helped catapult me to, success. And one thing I always done, and I don't know, maybe it was just ingrained in me, it was like I always admired guys who were doing better than me. That was just, I just did, right? And so I never had hatred or jealousy or anger towards guys who had cars that I didn't have, who had women I didn't have, or who had things that I wanted. Instead, I was always like, how did this guy do this, right? And if the person was somebody that I was able to reach out to, I would, right? Or somebody that I knew, I would. I'd ask, like, how did you do this? What did you do exactly? I'd want to sit and pick that person's brain, and I'd want to know, what steps did you do to get to where you are, right? And that way I can emulate it and try to do the best in my own life to maybe not even reach that level of success, but try to get close to it, or, even a fraction of that would be great. And whenever it came to guys doing better than me, I always admired dudes like that. And, and that's the mindset that I suggest many of you take if you're still getting jealous and envious over dudes who are doing better than you. All right. The fourth and final sign that you're trapped in your feminine frame, and these all are just really results of, all of my last points, is that you throw shade at other dudes in order to keep your reality intact. You're constantly like throwing shade at anybody in order to cowardly keep your own reality intact. And it's usually a reality that is sucking, right? It's usually a reality that, where you're not really living to your potential. You haven't found your path and purpose yet. And this is often why guys end up sinking into these low vibrational states in life where they're just toxic. It's because they don't have that path and purpose. They're just kind of wandering aimlessly. And the longer they do that, the more they start to get frustrated and angry at dudes who have found their path and purpose and who are making a difference in the world. This is going to be very hard for guys, especially if you're just used to being in this like 24/7 predatory jackal mode all the time of trolling people. Instead, you should try throwing people shine. You'll notice that is something that high value guys do, right? They're constantly throwing shine at people. And you know what? There are not many high value guys out there, believe it or not, right? But you'll come across them every once in a while. Maybe you're just walking along somewhere, you're about to go in an elevator, and some dude is like, hey man, nice jacket. Just out of the blue, like, what? My jacket? Really? And it just kind of like hits you. It's like, whoa, that's pretty cool. This guy's like just threw me some shine. I don't even know him. Or, hey man, that's a sweet ass car, right? And it's just like you have some regular car or something like that. Right? Like, whoa, dude. So you're kind of like taken back by that because you're so used to people throwing shade at you, because there's like way too many low value males out there who do that, right? And they do that, again, in order to keep their reality intact. And that clearly, obviously, is a feminine trait, right? All of these are feminine traits. These are things that, women tend to do to each other, right? Women throw shade at each other because they're jealous, they're envious of each other. The other girl might be prettier than her. Girls who are not as attractive as other girls, like, will constantly like, oh, look at her shoes. Oh, who dressed her? Oh, what is that? Look at those pants. Where are you shopping? Kmart, girl? And stuff like, is there even Kmart anymore? Right? Where are you buying at? Walmart? They're constantly throwing shade at each other because, really, that is how what they're wired to do, right? It's especially sad when you see a guy do it. When I see a guy throwing shade, getting jealous or envious of another dude, being over emotional, being reactive, I just feel sorry for that dude. And normally that guy can't even see he's doing it because he's so deeply ingrained in his feminine frame. He's like blinded by it, right? He's completely blinded by it. It's like if you were to tell a woman, hey, do you know that you're a bit over emotional, reactive, you get jealous over other chicks, and why are you always constantly throwing shade at them? What? I'm not doing any of that. What are you talking about? Of course, they have no accountability. That's also a sign of you being stuck in your feminine frame. You have no accountability whatsoever, no self-awareness. So again, when I see men doing this stuff, it's particularly alarming because it tells me that this guy was raised by women, right? Usually raised by a single mom, right? And if he had a dad in his life, usually a weak father figure in those rare cases where he did have a dad. But I always find it's always raised by a single mom. That's who teaches you this stuff, because you grow up with a single mom, you witness her as a child doing these things to other people, right? Being over emotional, reactive, jealous, envious, and throwing shade constantly. You witness this stuff, and in your mind you're trained to believe that this is okay behavior, and this is how you're supposed to interact with the world. I'm telling you, it's not. It's beta, it's feminine, and these are my top four traits that top 4 signs, I should say, that you are stuck in your feminine frame. So if there's anything you'd like to